Hey guys, BlackCross here, and today we're going to do a very in-depth video game analysis, I suppose you could say, video game gameplay that is. I've never really done one of these before, or more or less I haven't really done like a gameplay analysis. But thanks to the help of some of the most recent trailers we've had this year, as well as 0.2, we can get a deeper detail as to how the game of Kingdom Hearts 3 is going to pan out. And like I said, I may be completely wrong on a couple of things, but if so, please note them in the comments below, and until then, let's get started. So, first thing to clarify, obviously we have the main gameplay itself. You know, we have the jump command, which is circle, the attack, which is X, and then the guard, which is square. And then of course we have the lock-on command, as well as our menu of shortcut going on into the main Kingdom Hearts game. Now, there is one other button command that can be looked into, which is the triangle button. In the past Kingdom Hearts games, they are more or less of like reaction commands, is how they've been looked at. And needless to say, these reaction commands have been more or less of a way to extend the gameplay. And depending on the fight that you're going on, or the boss, or the enemy that happens, they can be activated at certain points throughout the game. This case, however, though, Kingdom Hearts 3 and Kingdom Hearts 0.2 Fragmentary Passage is using it in a different sense. They're no longer considered as reaction commands, but they're now noted as situation commands. A situation command is basically where you will be doing a series of attacks, and that situation will come up, in which case you can activate by simply pressing the triangle button. Now, the situation command is very talked about in some form of way, but it hasn't really been described in detail as to how it works. And because of the gameplay of 0.2, we can get a better detail as to how the game is going to work out. For example, in Kingdom Hearts 0.2, you can spam a fire attack, and then once you cast it enough times and the bar builds up, you can then cast a spell known as Fire Ja, which is a new form of magic that is upbeated. Fire Ja is basically a more powerful form of fire. The same can be said for Thunder and Blizzard. So within this command, we can safely say that you can use Fire Ja, Thunder Ja, and Blizzard Ja by simply spamming the spell. However though, if you want to make it even more detailed, while attacking and while this part right here, which is the situation bar, we'll call it that for now, the situation bar builds up, and for say you use Blizzard, Thunder, or even Fire towards the end of that combo, you will initiate a particular situation command, such as Fire Ja, Thunder Ja, or Blizzard Ja, depending on the combo attack. Another thing too to note within this thing is that the combo is not restricted to one combo per time. It can be used multiple times to stack multiple combos. For example, if you were to cast Thunder as well as Fire and Blizzard while committing combo attacks, you will stack these spells. In other words, you can have Thunder Ja, Blizzard Ja, and Fire Ja at the same time. This is where the gameplay actually gets a little bit complicated. As such though, they have it to where you can actually select these commands at any time. Within these particular commands that you put together, you can actually select whether you choose Fire Ja, Blizzard Ja, or Thunder Ja if all three has been activated. In other words, all three gets activated, but if you just simply press the triangle command, it will simply initiate whatever is first. However, by selecting these individual commands, you can select which one to initiate first. So in other words, we can stack combos as well as use them freely within the game, but we have a restricted time limit. So within that time limit, if you choose to make one of those combos work, you can select them by simply pressing the directional buttons up and down, and then press the triangle button in order to select that particular combo. Another thing too to note about the situation commands is that you have the individual forms. Now, we all know them to be drive forms, but it turns out the drive forms are actually going to be a part of this situation command. At first, in the past, these particular drive forms were used to be, or how can I put this? In Kingdom Hearts 2's case, the little drive form, the yellow bar right there, was initially used for a drive form. In this case, however, drive forms are not restricted based on a gauge, but they're restricted based on combo moves. In other words, if you were to attack normally, like no spells required, if you attack normally, you will initiate one of those drive form stands. Whether it be the second form command or depending on the Keyblade, which we'll get to that in just a sec, you can initiate one of those individually special drive forms, such as the guard form and whatever form they call it in Kingdom Hearts Toy Story's world. Now, of course, like I said before, the Keyblade transformations are a part of the forms. In other words, guard form has its Keyblade transform into a shield, and if you've noticed to some degree, the Keyblade can transform into a chariot/horse, which will actually initiate a Keyblade transformation. Now, of course, like I said, I may be completely wrong on this assumption, but to my understanding, these Keyblade transformation only works if you have that particular Keyblade. For example, the Hyper Hammer as well as the drill form that can be seen within the latest Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer for Toy Story, it can only be initiated when you have that particular Keyblade equipped. So in other words, if you have that particular Keyblade equipped, you'll be able to initiate the Keyblade transformation. In other words, that Keyblade transformation is now part of the combo move that you will be stacking up in the situation commands. So in example, let's take for example that you were to initiate a situation command. Depending on the Keyblade that you have, for this particular example, let's say you have the Seuss Keyblade. If you have the Seuss Keyblade, you'll be able to initiate the situation command known as guard form and initiate the following combos that can be appeared as such. In other words, the Keyblade plays a major portion within the gameplay as to how the Keyblade transformation is going to be, as well as the situation commands as to how you're going to go about them. So in other words, we can safely say that there are as many Keyblade transformations and drive forms as there are with Keyblades. So I can imagine a lot of people are going to be overwhelmed by this ideal assumption that there's going to be that many drive forms and that many Keyblades. But from my understanding within the trailers, we can assume that that's how it's going to be played out. Based on the Keyblade that you have in your equipment right now, depends on the situation command that's going to show up in combat. So let's say you are in mid-combat and you're casting spells and you're attacking normally. Within such, depending on the Keyblade that you have equipped currently at that time, you will be initiating a situation command where you transform into that form and have the Keyblade transformation in hand. So let's say you have the normal Keyblade. The normal Keyblade will then be activated to initiate second form, which is of course being that of Sora's Kingdom Hearts 2 outfit, and he's able to use the abilities like it was in the Lemon form in Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix gameplay. This may all seem complicated at first, but if you were to play 0.2, this isn't that hard and it's not that complicated to figure out how the gameplay works. In fact, we can even figure out how we can initiate our allies' combo attack moves within situation commands as well. Within 0.2 Fragmentary Passage gameplay, Aqua originally was only able to do Spellweaver in terms of a regular initiation command, other than her spells of course. When Mickey joins up along her in her party, you then initiate another situation command known as Wayfinder, in which case her and Mickey warps around. If we were to include this situation command into Kingdom Hearts 3's translation, we can only assume that any of the characters that perform like a combo move alongside with Sora will then be able to initiate another combo move in the situation commands. For example, Goofy and Donald will have one, along with probably even Hercules, Buzz, as well as Woody, and any other team that joins in the party. So in other words, we're going to be immensely acquired to do different combo attack moves, and this makes the gameplay a lot more interesting. And I know some people may still be confused, but if you were to watch the gameplay of 0.2 and then watch Kingdom Hearts 3's gameplay, you can then get a simulation as to how the game is going to work. And in all honesty, I have to say that the situation command that they have working right now for Kingdom Hearts 3, I am absolutely loving the ideal. You know, for once, we're not just spamming triangle, we're actually using it to initiate another combo strike move. In other words, a combo tree, if you will. So, it's going to be interesting to see how Kingdom Hearts 3 is going to be working just based on skill alone. In fact, from what Nomura stated, Kingdom Hearts 3 is going to be more skill-based rather than just an RPG. So in other words, we're going to be in a form of way, I suppose, and I know this is going to be an insult to some people, we're going to be seeing sort of like a, either a God of War or Devil May Cry type feel, where the gameplay is based on style. In this case, Kingdom Hearts is using all of these elements of different things, like for example the Keyblade transformation, as well as the drive forms, into one. And we can also safely assume that the shock lock system plays a big part in the Keyblade transformations as well. Some people probably have noticed, but there was one instant where Sora was able to transform into guard form, and he was able to change out a shock lock system and was able to use it while in guard form. And I can only imagine that within these different forms, as well as these individual different Keyblade transformation, that there's going to be a wide variety of different shock lock systems that you're going to be using throughout the entire game. At any rate though, that was sort of my in-depth feel as well as my in-depth ideal as to how Kingdom Hearts 3 is going to be working, and I have to say that situation commands is actually being used implementedly strongly in comparison to how Kingdom Hearts has been used in the past. In fact, I have to say that Kingdom Hearts 3 is looking to be one of the best games that will be made in 2018, and I can't wait for it. There's one more video that I want to do as well as talk about. So with that being said, I'll leave you with this video. Again, if there was anything that I missed in terms of like how the game is going to be played, or how I thought the game is going to be played, please let me know in the comments below, so that way we can get a better idea as well as better understanding as to how Kingdom Hearts 3 is going to be played out. Again, this is sort of a situation in where I kind of looked at the trailer as well as analyzed it based on how 0.2 plays out, so I can imagine this is how the game is going to play as well. With that said, thank you so much, and I will see you in the next video. This is BlackCross signing off. Take care, guys.